Chair will call the meeting to order. First item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of January 2025. Chair will entertain a motion. So moved. Second. It's been seconded. Any amendments or changes to the minutes? Jeff?
Yeah, I don't know, I heard that, I nominated you for.
I changed that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know, you should have gotten an email, because
I looked for one, I didn't see one, so
No.
that's the only thing I
no,
saw.
that's the only thing I saw too, but I did, it should be in the amended minutes.
Okay, that's fine,
That's
all I had.
yeah, that's all I had to, but I did catch it, and so we made that change. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
Good,
could we go to a new business so that I can excuse Julie, and get her back working in Hyder?
sure,
And I think it'll only take a minute.
okay.
I asked Julie to come in. This is normally an issue, that, we would handle internally, but I wanted to, just expose the new commissioners to some of the stuff that goes on at Hyder, so they'll have some idea, so. Julie, you're on.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Well, can we,
Yeah, let's finish the minutes first,
Yeah.
okay?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought the minutes were
I
done.
got a motion, and one second, anything is, I did make that change,
okay, that's fine.
All
The
right.
printed copies.
Just
have
print a
it.
copy, I did the change, just checking. All right, all those in favor of adoption, give it saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the vote unanimous, okay, now we're in.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead, Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie. I know I haven't met the two new commissioners. So I don't know how much you know about Hyder. We do GIP patients, which are critically ill patients that would normally be cared for in a hospital, but we're able to care for them in the Hyder setting, and then we do respite and routine patients as well. I think one of the reasons Ray asked me to come over yesterday, there was a big meeting and a conversation about our pump infusions. And so one of the ways that we manage severe pain at Hyder is through infusion. So it's a medication per pump that runs continuously to help with better pain management. I know the pharmacy is having an issue. It can be expensive on their end. And so we were talking yesterday about ways to potentially manage pain in other ways. We're not going to be able, definitely not going to be able to eliminate pumps altogether because we need them. I looked this morning, we had 244 admissions to Hyder last year, and I ordered 92 pumps last year. So it's something we use a lot of. And it does really manage their pain a whole lot better. So we'll see what we can figure out.
The difference between using a pump is it's a constant infusion of whatever the pain medication is, which in most cases, and this is fentanyl.
Fentanyl and Dilaudid are the two that we use most often, yes.
So the pumps are used primarily for truly people that are very close to the end of their lives. Now, there's other ways of administering these meds. The problem is that when you administer it in the other ways, you're running the risk of peaks and valleys in medications.
Yeah, and a circulation pattern of people's bodies.
So, they get it administered in a different way. The theory is before you administer the next dose, there's a valley there and the person could possibly, be feeling some pain before the next dose is administered. So, we do think that there might be some,
what are the docs saying about this?
well, unfortunately, our medical director is on vacation, so we weren't able to include him, in the discussion. However, the doctor that's covering, Keenan Allegeri, is less inclined to use pumps anyway, just,
Generally?
well,
Would
doctors
you
have
want to do
different
IVs or
opinions.
something?
So we can IV push medication like Dilaudid or fentanyl. And so sometimes Dr. Allegeri, for example, will schedule, Dilaudid push that we're going to push it every 3 hours or every 4 hours or something to kind of simulate a pump. It's not quite as effective. It does manage some of our patients appropriately and we're able to keep some of them comfortable. But it still causes that hill and valley that Ray was speaking of. And so
So is the pharmaceutical companies having problems producing the pumps? Because I thought they were made out like out of Vermont or
pumps-
someplace.
they are, and they were supposed to build a clean room in New Hampshire that
Yeah.
still is not done.
So in order to manufacture the cartridge that fits into the pump, it needs to be done in a clean room. The only clean room available to this pharmacy is Vermont. So every time we order a cassette, they have to stop what they're doing, enter into the clean room, create the cassette and send it back to us. At quite an expense. They actually lose money on that scenario. Now they were always willing to, let's take that back. Part of their business model was that they would understand that they would lose some money. It's just that we're having more patients that
Are you using it?
are using or needing, a pump,
You need the pump.
which is more convenient all the way around. I mean, it's better for the patient, it's better for the staff, it's better all the way around.
Because you're not poking them.
But we're gonna do our best. I just want you to know that, if we have to start paying for that, it's gonna be a significant cost. So right now,
That's not covered in Medicare.
no, it's covered under
Under the
the,
general rate.
under the general rate.
Yeah.
The problem is that when you're getting even a general rate of $1,100 a day, okay, but you're paying, $500 and $600 for the cassette. So we're looking at other things like the cassettes themselves are between $175 and $192 a piece. The delivery is the killer. So maybe instead of ordering one cassette, we order two. The problem is
It doesn't have a shelf life?
and it's not a shelf life issue. It just can't be, you have to flush it. Well, not flush it, you have to destroy
The
it.
problem, the reason we in the past have not ordered, we try to limit the number we order because our patients are terminal. And so, might come in the morning and order a pump and that pump arrives and my patient passes an hour later. It's
Right.
just that
Yeah.
we never know the life expectancy. Like we can make educated guesses as to how long somebody's gonna be with us, but we just never know. And so I just always tried to be thoughtful about not ordering too many because it costs us money the more pumps, cassettes I order, and then if I have to just waste them, that's.
And you can't return them.
There's no shelf life for that?
You can't return them.
So it belongs to that patient, and when that patient passes, it gets destroyed.
Thank the Board of Pharmacy for their,
Well, that's ridiculous.
you're right. It happens with an unbelievable.
No, I always love drugs things. All right, so what do we?
Nothing. I'm simply letting you know that it's possibly an issue for the future. I offered some ideas yesterday in the meeting, the ideas that are acceptable to Julie. Being what I affectionately call her, the Hyder house mother. Because, she's the nurse that's responsible for the Hyder operation. So I've offered some suggestions. I will reach out to Dr. Clary when he returns. Hopefully he'll embrace those ideas and we can lessen the burden on the pharmacy. They're not asking us to stop. They're just seeing and I think it's just a fluke. They're seeing a pretty large jump, like over the last month or so. And they're worried that that's gonna set a pattern, a pattern that makes it financially not feasible for them to operate. So I just want you to know that that's something that, we're working on internally.
This goes without saying, but end of life pain is a huge issue for me. And I know it's just for you too, so, whatever you guys work out, I mean, you guys are the pros, you figure it out, but that's it,
Well,
I don't like the.
we're not giving up. I said it clearly yesterday and I've said it to Julie. If best practice is that this person gets a pump, then they're gonna get a pump and we'll figure it out from there.
Well, lot of it's a guessing game.
It truly is, because you don't know how
I don't know.
somebody's going to respond, but we're going to, we're gonna see what we can do and see if we can lessen the burden on the pharmacy without affecting patient care.
Right.
But I just wanted to let you know about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to, thank, this young lady for, what she does. We do respite care for my, sister-in-law, and, they do a great job, and I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I guess you can go back and
Go back to work.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
go back and play with your pumps, huh?
Yeah, thanks, Julie, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. Alrighty. Item 2 is I get a briefing from Carrie Conway regarding the forensic liaison officer. How are you, Carrie?
How you doing? Nice to see you all.
See you.
Get some copies here.
I'll pass them out.
Thank you, sir. Each of those.
Here we go, sir. Before you get started, Carrie, we have somebody that's joined us on Zoom. It says Carol's iPhone. I need to have, under the statute, I need to have the Carol, whoever you are, to identify yourself. To the
Yep.
commission.
I'm a member of the public.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, you have to tell me more than that. You have to tell me who you are.
Or what town you're from.
Oh, what town you're from. Yeah, just identify yourself if you would.
Okay, I'm Carol Petrosevich. I live in Rochester, New Hampshire.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right, so, okay, Terry.
Okay, all right, so HB 1020, you may be familiar. The Office of Forensics did a study with regards to competency, and they found that there were high rates of competency evaluations coming from Hillsborough, Merrimack, and Strafford. So there is a bill going forward headed by Representative Mark Pearson, suggesting that through DHHS, they hire a forensic liaison. And here it says a forensic liaison officer. They've since dropped the officer name because it doesn't sound very neutral. And so what they're proposing is a 2-year pilot program in either Hillsborough, Merrimack, or Strafford, where that liaison would work with case management entities to try to funnel people through the competency process to get them into treatment and to have those evaluations done sooner. Been on a call with NAMI and a whole group. We've had 2 calls this week, another call tomorrow. They ruled out Hillsborough. They feel like that's too much of a bite to, it's broken up into north and south. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to start there. So I think they're really looking at Strafford. In my conversations with Ray, we've come up with some ideas that we think that how we can make it work here. The money, I'm told that Governor Ayotte is saying that she's going to put money behind this. That's what I'm told. NAMI has a meeting with the governor supposedly at the end of the month to talk to her more about that. So how I see, and so how I see it potentially working, how we see it potentially working is DHHS hires someone, the liaison, and we could potentially house them here, courthouse complex somewhere, where they work with our existing case management team. Right now, we have 17 people that we're supervising through the competency process. Since in the last 10 years, we've had just under 100 people that we've supervised awaiting through that process. So it wouldn't be money on our end. It would be DHHS money, paying someone to come here to work with our case managers to help them through that process.
And what's the community partners role in that?
Interesting you ask. I've been talking to Chris Kozak. He hasn't been on the phone calls, but we've had meetings about this. And this is a letter that the mental health centers, the CMHCs, have produced. They're not in support of this project being a part of a mental health center. And the reasons are outlined here.
They're in support of the project, just not it being part of the mental health center.
Right. They believe that it belongs to like a Department of Justice or some sort of entity, because they're saying a small number of people that are actually going through the competency process and found not competent are not within their scope, meaning not severely persistent mentally ill.
So then they support the concept. They just think it ought to be criminal justice component.
They think that it should be funneled to specialists who are specially trained to work with competency individuals and not staff at a mental health center.
Okay.
Private practitioners in the community.
I get you.
DHS, they are gonna funnel some money through the mental health centers wherever this pilot's taking place. And I spoke with Chris, he had a training late, we spoke last evening about this, and I made him aware that there is money that they could be getting. But that's where it stands.
Where I've suggested to Carrie how we differentiate ourselves from Merrimack. Because I think, and Carrie, actually, I'm supporting Carrie's concept that this is some good help for us.
Right.
That, Merrimack's program, for, release, for criminal release, operates out of the county attorney's office. So it's not really an impartial program.
Right.
What is recommended to the court for release of inmates pretrial is what the county attorney's office believes to be.
Right. And in our model, the county attorney can object, but they usually.
Well, in our model, it's an independent agency.
Right.
So, I always joke with Carrie that we know we're operating well when both we get objections from
Both
the
sides.
public defender's office and from the county attorney's office. We know we're, operating independently based on our best judgment for how to manage pretrial
Well, this would be a big help for our own staff if they were able to pull it off,
Agree, right, and it truly does make it independent, they made the comment, well, they dropped the officer title because they don't want a badge behind the
Right.
position. There are some thinking that our existing case managers could become one of these, and that's not neutral. Ray and I spoke about
Right,
that.
right.
NAMI agrees, it needs to be a separate entity. That
I
would support.
would think NAMI would want it neutral anyway. I mean, they don't,
100%.
yeah. I worked on their board years ago.
Mhm.
I'm familiar with the culture, so.
Yeah, so we love pilot programs in Strafford County.
Yeah.
It's not any additional heavy lifting on our end. It's just us supporting the concept.
So are you gonna refer, is the plan if this person comes on board, wherever this person is the plan is to refer and do referrals through with Blair or with the staff? I just wanna make sure I understand.
Yep, so our existing, like Aaron right now, Aaron Guyette has
Yeah.
16 of our people who are going through the process. Aaron would work closely with the liaison.
Okay. Is the liaison function to try to get more a handle on their home, the long-term situation? Once we leave, they leave us, we do some follow-up, but
Right.
it's more, I guess, long-term, I guess that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around with the person.
Yeah, it's to really help with the backlog of these evaluations. I think DHHS says they realize that they need to put some more money towards the treatment. You're putting money towards an officer, but nothing's gonna change if there aren't people in the community doing these evaluations. So it's really like that liaison's gonna be an advocate for the consumer and for the process to keep it moving and to move it more quickly.
Okay.
So I'll keep you posted. It's, I think there's looking to
It may not
have
survive-
something.
It may not survive the budget cut.
Right,
anyway.
right.
Depending
We'll
on
see.
nature, but yeah.
And for any interesting little sidelight on this, Mark Pearson and I went to high school together.
Yeah. Oh. Wow. All right, well, you gotta keep us in the loop, Carrie, let me know what's going on.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
oh, you're welcome.
Everything else all right downstairs?
Carrie and Chris I'm putting them on the spot. I did warn Carrie. I thought while Carrie was here, she could just give us a little update on the bill that passed in the last legislature, creating magistrates for bail on the weekends when there's no judge available. We had our first little issue. But go ahead, Carrie.
Sure, yeah, so, under the Chief Justice, they've appointed 3 magistrates. One of them, which is Frank Weeks, who just retired from UNHPD to become a magistrate. So they are working to set bail, on off hours. And so how I read the legislation,
What happened to bail commissions? Just well, what happened to that? I mean, what's going on with that?
They're still
Yeah.
here. The magistrates have a relatively small window of responsibility where there's only 12
Situation?
alleged crimes in which they would
Okay.
they would preside over. So if it falls within those 12 crimes, then there's a hearing. Well,
Okay.
and forgive me if you have more, like, the only experience that I can talk about is this past weekend, for example, we had 2 instances where we had hearings. And communication with the magistrates has been perfect. They were very receptive to some of the feedback that we provided prior to the bill rolling out when they met with the superintendent's affiliate. And so that's all great. The feedback that I got from my classification department is that the magistrates went over an entire criminal history, which made it a little bit longer than they anticipated, which they're within their rights to do so. However, it's a bail hearing that happens on Saturday or Sunday, and then they were seen again by a judge on Monday. And so,
What are they trying to accomplish?
well, I think it's to adhere to the statutes, because the statute changed that you're heard within 24 hours of an arrest. And so they're accomplishing that by these 3 magistrates that are happening.
Is this being done by video or are we doing
It's
this
being done by phone.
by phone?
Yeah, and we certainly in Strafford County, we're fortunate enough to be able to have video communication. Should that come up, it's gonna be no
So
lifting at
it's-
all for us.
It's on the other end that the video becomes the
Correct.
issue.
Yep.
In other words, the magistrates don't have the ability to do the video. We could.
Right.
So what little I know about this, help me out with this, this was supposed to be for all non-violent, at least initially. Is that still the case?
correct, right? Right,
So if they're non-violent, why aren't they using this standard bail procedure? I'm trying to understand what the legislature's trying to do here.
Well, they don't, if they're arrested on a Friday night, they don't want to have them, and the bail commissioner sets whatever bail that they can't meet. There's
They want
no
a hearing?
opportunity
There's no
for them to
hearing?
have a hearing till Monday.
Till Monday,
So they'd be spending, even if they're arrested Friday afternoon,
right?
they'd be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then sometime on Monday, they'd get a
So
hearing.
they're gonna get a hearing based on the fairness of the bail, what the bail commissioner would set, is that what they're doing, or are they gonna set the bail themselves? They're
They
gonna
are.
hear,
yes.
and they're gonna set the bail themselves.
They are. And so what we're finding is that how we read legislation is that they cannot order someone to community corrections
Right,
without us first finding them acceptable.
right, yeah.
We ran into an issue this week where that was not the case, where we rarely do, but we found someone unacceptable.
Yeah.
And they still ordered them to us. And when we reached out to Stephanie about it, we were told that it's because the parties came to an agreement. So I emailed Judge Howard and
Who's the
said,
party, we're supposed to be a party to that.
we're not parties.
We're not parties.
We don't file motions, we prepare motions, the county attorneys file
Right.
them, yeah. So I reached out to Judge Howard and he was gonna speak to general counsel to see if that's actually, he understands it that way.
Yeah, so we would need the county attorney then to file a motion to not
Amend.
accept or amend or what, right?
So that was one of the issues. The other issues is we have walk-ins still, right? Like people walk in into court and they ordered a walk-in to us. So we didn't complete an assessment because we didn't know they were walking in. So we're just, it's, you know what, it's January, 15th, started January 1. These are not bad kinks that we figured that this was going to happen. The first couple of days, the magistrates were holding a lot of folks on preventative detention. I think it's with our new pretrial assessment all rolling out at the same sort of time. I think it's going to work itself out. But the good news is we have communication. Judge Howard's researching some things for us.
Yeah.
We have a meeting in February in Belknap County with
Well,
all the
we're-
pretrial people. We're inviting the magistrates to that. So
They'll work the kinks out and they'll probably by June we'll know and they'll probably put some bill in if they have to adjust it. That's what probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, but we're staying on top of it. We want to let you know that we're monitoring.
I realize this is a premature, because it's only been going on for a couple of weeks, but whereas Carrie was up here anyway,
Right.
I thought it would, we could share.
Well, it's
that.
good to know because it has an impact on the jail operation for sure, so.
It does. We had two this past weekend. We had one the weekend before. However, there was a bit of a misunderstanding, and I don't believe that it was from the jail or the magistrate. It may have been the arresting agency. And it also happened to fall within a 24-hour period where it could be justified to be done on Monday anyways. They were brought in like at 9:45 on Sunday morning. And so instead of being able to be heard on Sunday at like 10:15, I think is our window, we could just push it off to Monday, so.
Okay. All right, well, thanks. Karen.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, so, you had mentioned during you had wanted some kind of an update on the capital, budget timing and such, and I wanted it myself as well. I thought it was a good idea, so we've had Dougie work on that. So he's gonna give us some paperwork on that and give a presentation about timing. So you're on, Dougie.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Chairman. Janet's handing out right now a spreadsheet that I put together with the projects that are currently on the multi-year capital plan and their status. Work their way to get a copy of it here. Excellent. So you can see from the top there, it's the same projects that we're on, that were all approved. We're feeling pretty good about getting most of this awarded and out for RFP or by the middle of the year. I think we should have answers on all of these.
So you're talking about June on most of the stuff that's in yellow, is that what we're looking at?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Up from now to June, is that?
Correct.
Okay.
I hope to have this wrapped up. I hope to have all of those in purple by June.
In other words, done by June.
Yeah, we've had the highest priority items. We've taken a little while. I've had to become an expert on some of these RFPs. I want to make sure that our pencils are as sharp as can be, so we get the best quality vendors and we get the best quality repair job for these items.
Yes. Okay.
Some of the items we were able to shift off onto our regular building repair accounts, taking it off of that capital improvement there, saving us some time and money. Yeah, it's a considerable amount of projects there.
Yeah.
I hope to have the hider. I put out emails to all of the vendors' references that were placed on those bids. And
On the roof, you're talking about now?
on the roof, correct. And I've yet to hear satisfactory responses from all of the vendors' references. Once I get that wrapped up, I'll give it until the end of the week, and then we'll present you guys during the next meeting with the vendors that we've selected.
Okay. I know I don't know, if this is probably news to you two guys, but we had a water issue, at Hyder. Are we gonna talk about that?
No,
I'm ready to, yeah.
He's ready.
He's ready.
He's got
that.
pictures.
All right, let's do one at a time. You guys have any questions about the schedule at this point? I mean, it's the first time you've seen it. We can always go back and look at it again if you guys wanna change something, or you wanna move something up, or talk with Doug about it, get some more information on it.
Yeah. Any
Please.
questions you have, you can reach out to me.
Yeah, just reach out to Doug. Okay, Joe, is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Now, we had a water issue at Hyder, that's the last time we met. And I asked them to put on the agenda to discuss it, with we, so.
Sure.
We've got apparently the sprinkler system. That's had some corrosion in it. The pipe that they use in the building, the city of Dover's water is so iron and acidic that you can see the pipes out. Now, that's as much as I know. I'll turn it over to Doug. I mean, when he brought it to my attention, I just put it on the agenda. So,
Great. Thank you for your time, everyone. I just want to bring to your attention an emerging condition that we're having at Hyder. Hyder was constructed in 2007, and the sprinkler pipes were constructed out of the base minimum code pipe, which is a Schedule 10 pipe.
Oh, Schedule 10.
Schedule 10, that's-
40.
Yeah, it's, I brought an example, if I could pass it around. This is the latest leak.
That's a lot better than the sample he brought into me. It was
Yeah.
like 7 foot tall and.
I was in a rush, yeah.
Is that the dam pipe or is that?
These are the horizontal pipes
Horizontal
that
pipes.
feed all of the rooms.
Yeah.
They're a 3-inch diameter, some of them are 4-inch diameter. Again, minimum acceptable thickness, and what we've had in the past 20 years is a severe corrosion rate on the inside of these pipes. What happens each time one of these pipes hatches is it's not only between $5,000 and $7,000 to have an emergency repair from the sprinkler company. The hider, if you've been in there before, you'll notice is built residentially. There's no access doors, there's no anything. So it's our technicians with a multi-tool and sledgehammers basically destroying the rooms.
Yeah, taking the ceilings out.
Correct, right. There's no access to the attic. Moving forward, we have $55,000 approved in our multi-year capital plan for a flush. We are due for our mandated by law 5-year flush for the system. It's my opinion and the opinion of our current sprinkler vendor that if we go through with the flush at $55,000, we'll be creating untold thousands of dollars in repairs as each of these holes are
Has it got
uncovered.
porous? It's just the metal just got.
Yeah, I'll pass this around. You can take a peek at it. It's
Schedule 10 pipe is just.
it's
Why is it
basically
so-
exhaust
why do they
tubing.
use-
Yeah, it's very, very
Metal.
thin.
Well.
We didn't have anything to do with the
Well, we had,
construction.
yeah, we had no.
I realize that, but
We
I
didn't
mean,
build the
it's, you know, it's gonna corrode from the plastic.
Sure. So the alternatives are I've
Yeah, see that in there.
done my diligence on this by asking several vendors. I asked if there's any sort of lining solution. There is
Right.
no acceptable by code solution other than replacing the pipes. Their fear being anything that is coating those pipes will come loose during an event
Right.
and will plug a sprinkler head.
Right.
So only steel and only CPVC are the two available substances.
So if we took the 55 grand and we updated the system itself to PVC, that would to me to be the thing to do.
Yeah, I think the $55,000 would be a waste of money at this point
Right.
and could possibly create
Well,
even
create
more
problems.
issues.
To flush it.
Not, yeah, not only the initial 5,000 to 7,000 for the sprinkler repair or possibly more. It's all hands on deck. I have 5 guys responding to a room because we have delayed admissions. We had to delay an admission 4 days for this past one while we waited for drywall to dry, paint to dry.
Are you gonna come up with a plan, Dougie, to try to replace them?
Yeah, I'm
in there.
I'm planning on getting an RFP out there for the different sprinkler vendors, see what we can come up with, even if we can do it in sections. Obviously, the
Is there
north
some
wing
of it?
is,
Is some of it we can do in-house? That's gonna be expensive.
it is going to be expensive,
That
yes.
is not gonna be cheap.
no, it's not.
Ceilings down. we gotta-
Yeah, it's not gonna be cheap, but what I'm trying to do is stem the bleeding right now of these repairs. They've increased in frequency over the past 2 years, since I've started. Actually, in that packet, you can
How are
see,
you repairing the horizontal pipes with the porous like this? What do you?
so if you see at the end, there's a flared section there,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. There's a rubber gasket that goes on
Right.
that and then a large iron clamp.
Iron clamp, yeah.
Yep, thankfully, if we are able to replace a section that can easily be removed, great, but a lot of these sprinklers were put in before the drywall was put in, so there's some creative solutions. Thankfully, our sprinkler vendor has small enough equipment, he can bring the equipment into the attic. He can seam the pipe, repair it where it is, but again, that's labor intensive and that's money. What I'm trying to do going forward again is, not put any more money into a pipe that tomorrow could do the exact same thing.
Yeah, you're right. That doesn't make any
They,
sense.
they can't use a liner?
No, not according to code. Their fear being, and again, they went with galvanized pipes about 10 years ago. The building code said everything going forward has to be galvanized pipes. What they're finding now is that the galvanized coating is coming loose.
Right.
And during sprinkler events, it's actually coming loose and plugging the sprinkler heads. Yeah.
What?
Do you have to remove this existing pipe if you
That'd
use
be
the
expensive,
PVC piping?
It would be removal of the
Sealing
existing
down.
pipe and using the existing hangers with the exact
Oh,
same
okay.
design, replacing
You know, the
it
other-
in kind for
The other
plastic pipe.
problem you have with that, now, I mean,
And this is, Mr. Chairman, this is the only location on the county complex that has
has
this.
Schedule 10.
That has this Schedule 10 pipe, right? The jail was built with Schedule 40.
Yeah.
Riverside has Schedule 80,
80.
even up to the Alms building.
Right.
And we've never had any problems with leaks. This is a constant problem. We have slow drips, we have air leaks. What
Oh.
happens is this is in the air portion of the system, and if we don't catch it, that compressor will run and run and run, and we've had to replace compressors before because it's on a Saturday and nobody knows.
Yeah.
We have an hour meter attached to the compressor now, so along with our sprinkler readings daily, actually twice daily, we check the runtime on the compressor so we can sort of head off a problem if we have that. But that leak right there was sudden. and we shut the air portion off and then slowly water filled the sections and then started dripping into the rooms. And it took 2 rooms, 201 and 203.
Is that a dry system or wet system?
Dry system in the attic, which is for the HVAC systems, and then the stuff that's in the residence rooms is filled with water. So there's actually 2 systems in there.
2 systems.
Yeah, the air portion is the one we keep having problems with. The water doesn't really seem to corrode as fast as the air portions. There is alternatives to slow down the corrosion using nitrogen instead of just regular compressed air, but that's incredibly expensive. A nitrogen system is about $30,000 to install. And then if we have a leak again, we've just drained a tank of nitrogen.
Right, yeah, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
The pipe itself is
Right,
compromised.
right.
And you don't know because it's just if you've had multiple cases of it, you know that the pipe's too thin, it's porous, and you're gonna have the problem somewhere else.
Sure. So what I'm asking for, bringing it to everybody's attention here is I'd like to put it out for RFP to get a quote on replacing the plastic. Possibly we could do it in thirds, the building's sort of a U shape.
Yeah.
The north wing is the only one that's occupied right now. They admit 7 to 8 people, I believe.
So we do the south side first and then maybe transfer the people over and do the other side afterwards.
Correct.
That nature.
Yeah, there's redundancy in there, so continuity of operations isn't an issue.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, I'll come back to you with all the information that I can gather. I've reached out to Tim Wilder, who's our authority having jurisdiction now. He's our life safety inspector from Rochester. He's on loan. He's still over for 1 day a week. He was supposed to stop in June, but he's still on the job. So I've reached out to him for his input on this. He's been a pretty good resource.
Seems to me it's pretty straightforward. You gotta take the ceilings down and replace it with PVC.
The alternative is, we have these leaks. Like I said, they're more frequent now. We had one back in November that thankfully we caught. We were able to put patch on it and hold it while the sprinkler company came. So it wasn't an emergency charge, but it was still $2,500 to repair that sprinkler.
Well, you're gonna check around, see what the best solution is. I like your idea of the third program, but it may not be that way. It may be cheaper for us to do it all at once. We can't do it all at once, but look at people.
Sure.
What's that?
You're gonna have to section
Section it off, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any way that can be mounted on the ceilings? I haven't seen this building, but.
So what we have is Hyder's residential.
Yeah.
And you have your resident rooms, you have your hallways, and then this air system leaves the boiler room directly, goes through the attic to the energy recovery units that are in the far ends of the wings, and then above the kitchen, we have 3 ERUs in there. So this pipe only services those. I asked about having them inside and visible,
Right.
and apparently the code says that if the pipes are visible, it has a whole nother level of UV exposure, inspection rates. It really ups the maintenance of the pipes themselves. I thought about even just hanging them below the ceiling and maybe putting another suspended ceiling
Right,
to hide it, what I mean, to keep it in the hot air so we can keep
Yeah.
water in there.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, we hope to get, Dougie was kind enough to send me a copy of the inquiry that we sent to the building inspector.
Yeah.
So this just went out within the last couple of days, so we're anxious to see the results. In the meantime, I can tell you that Dougie's crew did a Herculean effort to restore those 2 rooms so that, because we had admissions pending to Hyder and we got that resolved so that we were able to get those admissions in yesterday.
Yeah, and the burden that's on nursing, once this sprinkler system is deactivated and waiting for the repairs, nursing has to do 24-hour fire watch, which is twice an hour. They have to walk through the entire building, note everything. It all needs to be documented. This is all NFPA stuff, all requirements from the fire department.
So you're going with Schedule 80? PVC?
I would prefer plastic. It's actually Schedule 160 PVC.
160?
160.
Wow,
right.
that's thick.
It's very thick, yeah. 1, it'll handle the pressure. 2, it'll handle any vibrations. 3, it'll handle any UV exposure and possible rodent damage. Again, Hyder is right next to the swamp there, so that's a possibility going forward. What I'd like to do at a minimum is stop these events from happening, because these events are expensive and they're incredibly disruptive. Again, we lost 2 days with our crew. It was 5 guys over there, drywall patching, fogging paint on the ceiling, repairing water damage, pulling out floors. It happened quickly, and it happened, pretty severely this time. I hope to get ahead of these by getting those pipes repaired, and it'll be off our plate. I just think that this is, you know, pouring good money after bad, just repairing these sections as they leak.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, there's a couple 100 feet of this 4-inch pipe in there, and, you know, labor is getting more and more.
Pipes that comes off that manifold and runs through it, are they scheduled 10 to?
Schedule 10, the entire system is Schedule 10. Yeah. Not so much a problem in the water part, again, because there's maybe a lack of oxygen in there. We have different issues in the water part. There's some
Right.
corrosion and stuff going on there, but this is, excuse me, by the design, they have very, very long runs without a defined low point. So a lot of times over 60 or 70 feet, the pipe is actually sinking like this, and the drain is not where the low point of the pipe is. You know, we've removed pipes before with maybe an inch of sediment in the bottom.
Yeah.
And this is within 5 years, because we're supposed to flush it every 5 years, and we're due for that now.
I can tell you, I just know the galvanized that I use in my business ain't nothing.
It's certainly different than it used to be, yeah. Yeah.
It's junk. Last, I can get 15 years out of it, maybe we used to get 80 years out of it.
Sure.
It's just amazing what's happened with the US Steel being shut down and all I mean, it's just.
Yeah, there are other alternatives, but I think unfortunately, the fire codes, the NFPA codes are very slow to respond to the newer alloys and the newer technologies that are available.
Right.
Some stainless, some aluminized, things like that.
Yeah.
Sprinklers, all legacy stuff from 100 years ago, and they want to make sure everything's interoperable.
Yeah, let us know what this is.
Sure, I'll keep everybody up to date. Thank you.
You're on it, so. Okay. You got anything else for Doug, gentlemen?
No, sir.
WanderGuard?
Oh, yes, geez, I'm sorry, Doug. Thank you.
No worries.
I'm flipping my little list there.
One of the multi-year capital projects was the installation of a WanderGuard. If you recall, I'm not sure if the two new commissioners were here during our discussions about that project and the need for a WanderGuard system. The WanderGuard system is a bracelet, if you're not familiar with it, that's worn either on the person or around the wrist or around the leg for folks that are having elopement risks. When we have new admissions, depending on what the state of the resident is, there's a certain category of residents, and I'm paraphrasing here, that are increased elopement risk when they're admitted to Hyder. Currently, we do not have any sort of wander management system over there. If a person's in there, they can certainly just walk to the door and walk out without anybody knowing at night. There are no alarms, there are no bells. Staffing is appropriate for the levels of residents that are over there, but it's hard to watch people when you're caring for another person, especially in that sort of environment. After discussions with nursing, 2 years ago in November of 2022, we received 2 bids during the bid process, and I put that in the packet there. One was from Stanley, and the other was from Signet. Signet's system is what we currently have at Riverside. It's old technology and it is incredibly problematic. It is a maintenance nightmare. We're constantly adjusting it and having issues. Going forward, the Stanley is what everybody agreed to as the solution that we need. It's digital. And it's also trackable within a certain distance outside the building. It'll tell nursing which door was used to exit, and they can respond quickly and find the resident.
Does that have GPS tracking?
It uses RF inside the building, locating antennas. There is GPS technology available. They told me that's a whole nother level of expense beyond that. And I think there's some legal issues there too. But right now, there's a certain percentage, Ray knows the percentage offhand of admissions that we're turning down because we don't have a wander management system.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I should ask Julie when she was here, but if, we, particularly some of our people that we bring in for respite, if they tend to wander, we tend to not take.
Yeah, because Riverside's alarmed, so I was wondering.
Riverside's fine.
This is about height.
This is only about Hyder.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Riverside's fine. I mean, that's not a problem.
I've put temporary individual alarm boxes on the doors in just one wing. But again, that resident can just walk right into the other wing and elope through any of the other open doors. This solution here allows nursing to get a handle on the situation quickly.
And as you know, Mr. Chairman, the some of the rooms have a door directly to the outside.
Right.
So, that would resolve this issue too. I mean, we obviously wouldn't look at testing the system by putting somebody in a, you know, that we know wanders in a room with an outside door, but on the other hand, you know, we need to really alarm that, and I know the delegation recognized that, and that's why they approved it in the capital plan.
Sure, and sometimes they have no choice, depending on availability of room, sometimes.
With this bid, response, how close are we to money we budgeted? You know, they said 74 grand, was it? We budgeted, I can't remember the amount of money we budgeted for that.
I don't recall, I believe it's right about that amount.
What regard? I'm just curious. 80 grand, yeah. Okay, so we're within the.
Sure. So what I'm asking is, we've already got this bid. I'm asking Stanley to honor that bid from 2 years ago. Obviously, prices have increased, things have changed. If there's anything my crew can do to keep that bid in line, you know, obviously we'll run cable or conduit.
Is Stanley saying that we want to keep with this?
I'm gonna meet with him tomorrow.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Meet with Aaron.
So we'll put it on the agenda next week, maybe, and.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sure.
Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of town.
But you know what? You know, we'd like to talk to Stanley and, you know, if we can give them the indication that, if we can get a vote of support from you all
The whole
today,
price, yeah.
you know, and if the price stays approximately the same, you know, we'd like to get, every day that goes by, you know, we're losing a potential admission, and it's not that we don't have somebody else to admit. It's
Right.
just that we're not servicing that part of the community, you know, that probably needs the service more than anybody.
Right.
Because these are the
Wonders.
people that are staying up all day and all night because their mother, father, spouse, whatever, they're worried about them wandering out of the house in the middle of the night. And simultaneous with that, they're dying. And, you know, because they're on hospice. So, I mean, these are the people that we would be best to relieve their burden, you know, by having them stay at Hyder.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got, you know, we had a price from them a couple of years ago. I don't have any objection to sticking with that. I think.
It was by far the lowest price then.
Yeah, it was. It was. I don't know how you guys feel. It's up to us.
So you can keep the same price.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
I'd have to look, yeah, you know, a little bit more.
All right, well, then we'll meet with them and put it on your next agenda then.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have everything ready for you.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we had an experience with, someone in our family that wandered off.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they were upset in December. And, that's not a good, it's not a good scenario.
No, I mean, we definitely gotta have this thing. I mean, we, you know, with 80. You know, the thing is that it's kind of. You get family if you have people with family that supports in the community, that's great, but when you have a lot of people that don't have family support and they're wandering, you know, we're gonna end up taking them in anyway, because that's just how it works. So, I mean, to have that flexibility with hiders, that'd be huge. That'd be huge.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So when it triggers that they go to the door, does it have any capability of?
Yeah, I'm not saying against it, I'm just.
No, I get it.
25 feet.
Yes, on the property, there's fixed antennas inside the building. They can triangulate where it was, plus
Okay.
it tells the nurse at the nurse's station which door was
Which
reached.
door?
Well, whatever question you have, whatever you want, you just get in touch with Dougie directly and let Ray know you're doing it, and, you know. whatever
Yes,
you
within a
want.
certain distance from the
But
building.
this, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like 25 feet?
All right, so we all set with Doug now? You're set with Dougie?
Yes.
Okay, all right then. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks.
Okay, we got a.
Oh, there's one thing is those load, not as a total, but, during the day.
Mhm.
The load, that you use, in your buildings.
Yes, so I spoke to a representative from Eversource. He said we're looking for an electrical survey and that there was a cost. They can come out and quote us on an electrical demand survey.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, they said the best they can do is show us peak time and off-peak time.
right, that's what we're looking at, because,
Mhm.
you know, as to what system they put in.
Mhm.
You know, they can adjust your generator to, possibly save you money.
Great. So yeah, I forwarded you, copies of our 4, meter bills.
I seen those.
You got this. Okay, good.
But I think he was looking for the peaks and valleys of.
Right,
use.
and Eversource rep said that's the survey, and that's something it's a cash outlay. You know,
Right,
we have to
well,
purchase from that.
We're trying to save money. I mean,
Right,
it'd be better to have 2 units versus even one. I mean, it'd be better to have 2 because then you'd have a backup of the backup.
Mhm.
And, jets are a hell of a lot more efficient.
Sure,
I mean, they're expensive. I mean, it's short term.
right.
All right, okay, man.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Hi, can I ask a question before he leaves?
About him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
our little sewer issue over at Riverside,
Yes.
are we done with that yet, or
No.
are we still working on that?
No, no, we're in the planning phase right now. We have the vendor, working on getting us a plan because we have to displace some residents and it is going to be incredibly disruptive to some of the departments. So we need to make sure that everybody drills, everybody knows exactly what to do and everything goes off without a hitch. It's a massive undertaking. It's 160 people in there, 160 residents and
Oh, I know.
100+ employees. So we need to make sure everybody's on the same page and knows what to do. We have to make kitchen accommodations. We might have to get somebody in to kind of build us a kitchen area, to take care of some of the food prep stuff because the kitchen drains will be down for a small amount of time. But they're professionals and they do a pretty good job. They're confident that they can get it done within the time frame that we're planning. So we're planning around the time frame. They're planning around 5 to 7 days for each section of it. So if you take the section 1, which is unit 1, that'll be 5 to 7 days. But the actual time without sewer will be overnights. That's what we're trying to shoot for. Make sure folks will have access to the sewers during the day and then overnights when the demand is low. Then we can go ahead and do the
So we're
curing.
looking in the next couple of months, or we're looking 6 months?
We're looking at March. We're looking at March to get started on that. Ideally,
So hopefully by April, we're done with
yes,
that little catastrophe.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
All righty, you all set, Susan?
For that question,
Okay.
thank you very much for letting me
All right.
interrupt.
All right. Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
All right, item 4 is up list of upcoming events. We got a public hearing on the county's budget for 29. Gentlemen, have any old new business you want to talk about? Okay.
We have a couple of things, right? Yeah,
For old and new business.
yes. Well, one of the upcoming events, item C, is a progress CDBG public hearing for our Rochester childcare project.
Yeah,
It's required by, the grant, documents and specifications.
I got the
So,
wrong, I got the wrong agenda. I didn't see C. It's
Oh,
this one.
that's okay.
All right, all right.
yeah, so Donna Lane, our grant administrator, contacted me yesterday and we're pretty much in the halfway point here of this grant. So, we're required to hold a public hearing, for
Right.
the project, as far as what the progress is to
Yeah.
date. And, where you have a meeting on, Wednesday, January 29th at 7 o'clock. I know typically you
We
have a
meet
commissioners meeting
Right.
prior to that.
Right.
So, and we need to get the ad, Donna's, has the ad ready to go into the paper because that has to be published so many days in advance and whatnot. So, but I have to go today. If you would set your commissioners meeting late that afternoon.
Yeah.
We could do
Like
that,
at
let's
4
say 4
o'clock.
o'clock prior to the public.
There's no cost to us, no
Right.
cost for the ad, there's no
No,
cost for
we
any
get
of this.
reimbursed
We
for
get
all of that.
reimbursed for everything.
When the project's this is the halfway point. Yeah.
Yeah, the boiler is in, there's still some electrical work to do, so we've spent about. It's a $600,000 project, so we spent about 300,000 so far.
Yeah.
And, but she'll fill you in on all of those details.
Okay.
Because she'll be here, so if that's okay, we'll
Yeah.
go ahead and schedule
Yeah.
your meeting.
You guys good with that? We're gonna be here the 29th anyway. Huh? Wednesday, so we'll say, but we probably won't meet that Thursday, depending on the nature of what we got going on. So we'll just meet Wednesday. All right, we'll set it up for 4 o'clock.
Okay. Apparently, these public hearings have to be later in the day. They can't be
Right.
early in the day. So-
Yeah, I
If you
remember
do
that.
it a little later, so maybe if the public would like to come, could get here.
The public won't come.
Excuse me?
The public won't come for that. You might show up, but nobody else would. I mean, it's an update about a project that we've approved 2 years ago. In terms of what they're doing with the childcare center, and we're required at halfway through the expenditure to have a hearing to see if anybody's concerned about it. I mean, no one's gonna be concerned about a boiler that's being put in the building at least that I'm aware of, but you never know.
It's all about transparency and letting the
Right.
public know and letting everybody know what the progress is on
I mean,
that.
you guys wanna meet with, I mean, we can still meet at 4 if we have other business to take
And
care
then
of.
just do the public hearing at 5.
And do the public hearing at 5 or 5:30 or something. You know,
Yeah, and if we have other business, we could just start that earlier.
yeah, we'll just recess. and
So
come
do you
back.
want to schedule the public hearing for 5 o'clock?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, all right,
Okay.
we'll meet it, we'll work on whether we meet ourselves at 4, depending on nature what we have going.
Well, it's 2 weeks away, so.
Right, we got a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
Okay,
And I have one other item. Sheriff Moan, has, requested that, herself and 2 other of her employees,
Yeah.
be signers on the sheriff's office account.
okay,
And in order to make any change,
Right, we have to
we would
approve.
need your approval and your signature on the authorization.
who should pick a party and who else?
Mackenzie Hill, who is currently, she's
Oh,
their
that's the
executive
executive assistant.
assistant. Both Ray and Mackenzie are currently on the signature card, but it's adding Catherine
Ray
Moan
Party, he's talking
to
about,
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
not this Ray.
not that Ray.
right, great party, yeah. Alrighty. Oh, hallelujah.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. We getting a whole new business for you guys, you all today?
I am all set.
Randy,
Thank you.
You got anything right now?
We need a non-public session.
Yeah. Okay. All right, questions or comments from the public regarding the agenda? Alrighty,
No comments?
okay, Sue.
Okay, so I missed the last meeting, but it was during the day, never, need to work to pay the taxes. So there was something with regard to you guys administering a grant for the city of Rochester, and I actually listened to the
grant.
tape, but I couldn't quite figure out because you talk so softly.
Oh,
So could you explain that, what it was?
it was a JAG,
It's a what?
what was the JAG grant that we did?
We'll let Diane do it, if that's
Okay.
okay with you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, the JAG grant is a grant that's awarded, there's an allocation each year to a county where it's done differently now. And so Rochester is actually, they're the fiscal agent for this. And basically, they need a memorandum of understanding with all of the communities within the county with regards to that funding. I'm not really sure, I haven't seen the application. Usually it's for some equipment. In the past, we've purchased tasers with the funding, other types of things. We don't get any money out of it. They
But
just
you just-
require our,
It's
the
a
commissioner's
pass-through.
signature.
It's a pass-through.
Yeah, we don't, it doesn't pass through us, though,
No, we just have to
Passes
agree
through
with
Rochester.
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 And that money is used
For
for all of the
for
communities,
criminal
not just
justice.
the city.
No,
No, just Rochester?
it depends on the nature.
In this case, it's just
It's
Rochester.
just Rochester.
And it was for
Utility,
it was for like a utility vehicle.
right.
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't a lot of money. It was only like
It's an annual
$20,000.
appropriation by the federal government that they,
Oh, what I'm trying to drill down on is,
what?
okay, so this money is directly going to the city of Rochester for something for
Correct.
them to use. Okay,
You
so
got it.
then I can go to the city of Rochester and find out what they're using this money for.
Well, they told us,
100%.
right, they told us it was for a utility vehicle.
Well, they might tell you that.
Well, they can't do otherwise because it would be in violation of federal law, so if they tell us they're gonna buy a vehicle.
We trust that that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, now, if they don't, if they do something else, that's gonna be a problem, yeah. Yeah, that'll be a real problem, especially when they're administering the grant process.
My second, and it's just a comment, something for consideration, we had a little dialogue earlier. When you hold public hearings, it would be nice if you consider the public and do it at a time that is a little more convenient for people who get out of work at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and who might like to attend. And that consideration would be greatly appreciated.
Ready? Okay. You guys, you all set now, Susan? You all set now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. Chair, I'll entertain a motion now to go into non-public session. I'll move to talk personnel and contract negotiations, been moving second, and requires roll call. Commissioner Petrie,
Yes.
Commissioner Levitt. Yes. Myself, yes. Okay, the vote unanimously. Commissioner will retire to non-public session.